My name is Jensen. Let's learn some UiPath. Today we will see how we can set up and use GSuite in UiPath. We will start at another place than UiPath today because we need to set something up in the Google API. So go to your browser, go to console.developers.google.com. So we'll do that. By the way, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel to get all the new videos about UiPath and RPA. So haven't logged in. You need to create a Google account if you haven't got one. This is free, so you can just do it. Then we will click this drop down up here to create a new project. So click new project. We can call this whatever we want. I will call it UiPath GSuite, like this. Then we will click create, and now we created our project. So what we need to do is that we need to shift to it. It's still in progress. It will be there in a few seconds. That's it. And we'll change to the project we created. So we need to enable some APIs that we can use. So we will first go to library. Today we will be working with Google Sheets. It could have been any G Suite application. And what we want to do is that we want to have UiPath read a Google Sheet, this 2020-04-09 names. We want to read that into UiPath. Got two columns, ID and name. The rows are 1 alpha, 2 beta, 3 Charlie. We want to read this into UiPath. Then we want to add a row to it, so 4 delta, for example. And then we want to write it back to the sheet with the updated information. So we show that we both can read what's in the Google Sheets and we can write to it. So let's go back to our API library. And you will think that you will only need the Google Sheets API. Well, that's not really true because we need the Google Drive as well. And I'll show you why a little bit later. But we can enable Google Sheets and then we want to enable Google Drive. And you'll be using Google Drive for a lot of the processes here. So you can just enable it in the beginning here. Now we enabled Google Sheets. We go to library again and we'll enable Google Drive API like this. So enable it. By the way, if you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. That will really help me a lot. So in a few seconds we have enabled it and we go to the front page again. What we need to do is that we need to create some credentials. And first we will need to go to OAuth cons and screen, like here. We will, under the user type, we will choose external here, and we will click create. We can have a name, and again, I'll just say UiPath GSuite, like this. And all the other things we'll leave as they are. Click save. And we created a consent screen, like that. Then we will create credentials, so go to credentials. We will create a OAuth 2.0 client idea here. So click create credentials, OAuth client idea. You can just take other. Then we can again call this UiPath GSuite. Like this. Then we will click create and we will get our credentials in a few seconds. They are here, you will see them. Your client idea and our secret. Let's just first copy the client idea. Then we will go to UiPath. Go to manage packages. Then click all packages. And then we will say GSuite. UiPath GSuite activities, the first one here. Click install. Then click save. And now we are downloading dependencies and we are updating the package and getting the package for our project. So in a few seconds we're there. Now we're there. First we will need to search for GSuite and every activity that could be under the sheets. You can see a lot of sheets activity here, or Drive or Gmail or whatever. Every one of these activities, they need to go into a GSuite Application Scope. They will not function otherwise. So drag in a GSuite Application Scope like this. First we need to create variables for our client idea and our client secret from here. So go down to variables. We will say, we can call this str client idea. Then we will make quotation marks and paste our client idea in. We go back to our browser. Here. And then we will copy the secret go back to UiPath, and then we'll create another variable. We can call this str secret. Again, quotation marks, and paste it in like this. Now we can close down our variables manager, and we will mark the GSuite Application Scope. So first, what we need to do is that we'll choose the services that we want. We need the sheets that's marked per default, and then we need the drive. I'll show you why in a few seconds. Then under OAuth client idea, we can just update with our variables. So client idea here and the secret here. So now we can actually run this, and nothing will happen. We'll just log into GSuite Application Scope. But let's create the process first. So first we need to, because if we drag in a sheet, if we could use it like an Excel file, we will just have a read range under the GSuite sheet, so read range. And what we'll see here is that we need a spreadsheet idea. And we'll find that really easy. We'll just go to Drive, and then we'll say Find Files and Folders here. And now we can search for a name. So let's go to our sheets again here, and we will search for this name. So we can just find it here. Go back to UiPath, and instead of this test spreadsheet, we will search for our actually name. Let me delete this and paste it in. So now we will search for this, and we will just pick the first result here. So create a variable here that we know that there's only one. So this one, we will just say the feeling lucky. That will be the first one. So str. I can say, maybe say spread. Maybe file ID actually is the best thing, because now it's a spreadsheet idea, but it could also have been an idea for Gmail, Docs, or Calendar. So now we have a result here. We find this name, and we can use it down here in the read range. What we'll then need to do is that we can just put in the variable here. So this one will be their str file idea here. The range we will delete. We will just want to read everything. And then we want to go over here. We can see that we included headers, and we want to output it to a data table. Just as we do with all our, when we do Excel automation, we will output it to a data table, work with it, and have it back to Excel. And in this video, we want to have it back to Google Sheets. So click Control K, and we can say, we can call this DT names. Again, call it whatever you want. So now we read it into a data table. It looks the same as in Sheets, and now we can add a data row to it. That will be under data table activities. So add data row here. Drag this guy in. Under data table, that was DT names, and then we will add an array. So go up here, curly brackets, and then that will be 4-point delta, right? So we'll add this row into this data table. So now we've got a data table with 4 rows in plus headers, and we can write it back to Sheets. So we go back to GSuite Sheets here, choose the write range. That will write it back. Our spreadsheet idea, well, that's still the same. str file idea, we'll write to sheet 1, and then we start in A1. We will need to include headers, remember that. And then the data table, that will be DT names. So now we created a workflow that can read sheets. We can add data to the thing that we read, and we can write it back. Let's see how we can actually run it, and we can see that we will get the result that we want. We will run it now, and then we can see that our browser, that it asks us to log in. And this one says that this app is not confirmed, it's in Danish, but we'll click Advanced. Then we'll say go to UiPath GSuite. Well, that's the one we created, so we think it's secure, of course. And we will say allow. This is Danish, but this means allow. Allow again. Allow again. And now we have received the verification code, and we have run our workflow. We can go back to Sheets and see that it actually did what we wanted, so log in. And now we added a 4th row called 4th delta. So that's how you work with G Suite in UiPath. We could have chosen all the other activities, the nice activities. In Sheets, I will not recommend to work with all these retail, all these direct activities. I would always choose to work with the data table activities. That's it for now. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel to get all the new videos about UiPath and RPA.